So we're talking to each other. We might be live, but we're not sure.
Hi everyone, good evening. Kelly, welcome again. It's this time of the year again, right?
It is. It's the one time a year that you and I meet.
I'm sorry that I feel ashamed because,
No,
it means that
no.
we're not seeing each other or we're not talking to each other, for 364 days, except on one day. I'm so sorry. I hope you're doing fine, Kelly. Is
I
everything all
am.
right?
I am. It's actually one of my favorite times of the year. So what better if it's a favorite time of the year, then what better time of year to meet with one of my favorite people,
Perfect,
right?
perfect. So I'm glad.
Yes. So welcome everyone. Um, I believe we're streaming live. So
Yes.
welcome to Advocates of Silence Turkey, our annual Giving Tuesday event. Even though we're streaming live right now on Sunday night, it's it's the giving season. So while it's called Giving Tuesday, it takes place much more than just one day. So we are absolutely thrilled and excited and pleased to welcome everyone that is watching us virtually. For we have a a very active fundraising night for Advocates of Silence Turkey. And before we move into, we have videos and some music and conversations live and talking about some really powerful events that have gone on in the last year, as well as a wonderful conference that's coming up. If you're not familiar with Advocates of Silence Turkey, it's a 501c3 nonprofit that is registered here in the United States. And I know that there are people watching from all over the world. Um, and before I keep going, I should probably tell people that I'm Reverend Kelly Isola, and this is Hafsa Gerdap. So say hello. Who are you,
Yeah,
Hafsa?
I know that you're a celebrity, but
No.
it's better, to introduce ourselves, right, Kelly? I'm glad that we are together tonight again for a very significant, for a meaningful cause. So I'm Hafsa Girdap. I'm the executive director and spokesperson of AST, Advocates of Silence Turkey, and my co-MC, my dear friend Kelly, and I will be sharing AST's works with you and asking for your support in our work, in our important cause.
Absolutely. We there's a lot of ways to give support, and tonight we're going to talk about some of those different ways people have supported. And tonight is also a way to, the biggest thing we want to talk about is how you can support AST through financial donations. Not everyone is comfortable asking for money. I'm more than happy to, because it's part of being a nonprofit. It's your giving that makes what AST does possible. So as I said, AST, Advocates of Silence Turkey, is a nonprofit registered in the United States. And the Turkish government has wrongly imprisoned hundreds of thousands of homemakers, teachers, NGO workers, academics, judges, lawyers, journalists, all because of their affiliation with the Gulen movement, which is also known as Hizmet, Hizmet. And Hizmet, the word Hizmet really means service, and even deeper than that, Hizmet is a commitment to human rights, to a commitment to advocating for and working for human rights. Like it's really an imperative, and it's almost like a not negotiable thing. And there are a lot of ways you can be in service, but um, the so there was a time when the Republic of Turkey was actually praised around the world for being a very powerful model for democracy. However, that is no longer the case. In what's called the New Turkey, people are being silenced because they've spoken out against the regime's oppressive and brutal laws, which has been in effect. This oppressive regime has um, been in manifest form and been in power since 2016. And so as this new Turkey that was so committed to human rights, that was so committed to democracy, has now is committed to mass incarceration, to frequent violations of universal human rights, and those violations and rights being stripped away, sadly, has really become the norm. And so AST is this group of lawyers and judges and academics, journalists, hundreds and thousands of activists and volunteers who hold very dearly and very close to heart these universal human rights, and not just that we value them, but we work to make them real, to bring them into manifest form, to really be in action about it. And so that's, we are the advocates of Silence Turkey, and lots of relatives and friends of political prisoners, victims who have lost their jobs and property, and that's who Advocates of Silence Turkey is. And I can say we, while I may not have a relative that's a political prisoner, I firmly believe that in the interconnectedness of all life, and that I don't have freedom till we all have freedom, right? I don't have joy till we all have joy. So so tonight we are going to take a look at some videos, and you get to see how these human rights have been championed, how Advocates of Silence Turkey have really made it their mission to to engage, like to really fight back, so to speak, but to champion human rights, universal human rights. It's not just about Turkey. And while Advocates of Silence Turkey, and there is certainly this focus on Turkey, but as I said, these human rights apply to all of us, and that and also focusing on a democratic governance to be established and sustained for Turkey. Anything you want to add, Hafsa, before we keep moving?
What can I add? I mean, you explained the situation in Turkey and what's going on and what should be done perfectly. So thank you. Everything is so cohesive.
Okay. So I want to introduce to you a board member of Advocates of Silence Turkey, Sadri Altanak, who will be doing the welcoming speech. He's been a part of AST for many years, has led many initiatives regarding human rights issues and peace and community building, and really helping to just continue to move to champion the mission of Advocates of Silence Turkey. So welcome, Sadri. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Kelly and Hafsa, for making me a part of this great event. I'm sure with yours and many other AST volunteers behind the scene will make this event another successful one. I am very sure of it. So this program is being broadcast via YouTube all around the world. So I would like to start with good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are, to all friends and volunteers. I appreciate the honor of being with you to say a few words. Imagine for a second that you wake up one morning and wrongly accused of things that you have never done in your life. Imagine that overnight you became a victim of oppression. You might have been a teacher who taught the children of the oppressor, or you might have been a businessman who spent his wealth and worked tirelessly in Turkey and abroad to build the best schools to help raise citizens who not only excel in sciences, but also citizens with high moral values. Suddenly you're called someone who you never thought you would be called, and I quote, a terrorist. So your entire world crumbles down. With these words, I believe I summarized what has been going on in Turkey in the past 9 long years. So someone has to do a tremendous amount of work to expose these human rights violations, the injustices, the oppression, in some cases, the torture, and the conditions of the jails, and so on. This is what AST means to me, and I am sure it is the same for the majority of the people who support the Advocates of Silence Turkey. Today, you will hear about the projects AST has in its plate working to complete. It's a tremendous amount of work. Kelly and Hafsa will tell you all about them. I won't listen here. However, what I will say is that there is something that you all would like to be a part of. You can pick and choose what you would like to do. This is another beauty of AST's project structures. Let us remember, the more hands we have, the more projects we can work on. The more resources we have, the more effective we can be to be a voice for the voiceless. Please, please, so important that you share this fundraising with your friends and families. This fundraising will continue over a week. I would like to emphasize that the more you share, the more people we can reach out. The more generous we are today, the more tears we can stop. So this is the message that I wanted to give you all on behalf of Board of Directors of the AST. So to the tireless volunteers and advocates of Silence Turkey, I would like to take this opportunity to thank every single one of you for your work to expose the human rights violations happening in Turkey, as well as your tremendous efforts to what is right, to do what's right, and to bring justice for the oppressed. I am in solidarity with all the beautiful souls. Thank you again for your generosity, not only for Turkey, but all around the world for the crying, oppressed people. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sadri abi. Sadri Altınok, our AST's board member, and also one of my closest friends or elderly brothers, whatever you call. He's an amazing supporter. He's an amazing person that you should have just by your side all the time. You'll need him. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. A good one. Thank you.
I wanted to just say one little thing that he said pretty quick that I want to make sure people hear. And that is, he said, he made the statement in the middle about, giving voice to the voiceless. And I also want to expand that to, giving voice to those whose voice you can't hear. So there are a lot of people that are not necessarily voiceless, but you can't hear their voice. So we're here for that, doing events like this and all the other ones you'll hear about in order to make that a reality, to hear the more voices. Hafsa, I see, it looks like you're frozen. And now she's gone. So, you're back.
I am so sorry about the connection. I don't know what happened. Actually, it should be really well. So I will ask my friend Musin to play the Freedom Convention video, as I'm getting to somewhere much more, with much more better connection. Okay.
Okay. Do you want me to say anything about the video?
No. After the video, I can go ahead.
Okay.
Freedom Convention. Grave human rights violations in Turkey. Injustices, inequalities, human rights violations taking place under the current regime in Turkey. Arbitrary deprivation of civil and political rights in Turkey. Crackdown on freedom of expression in Turkey. International humanitarian law in today's world and conflict-related abuses. Freedom Convention. Grave human rights violations in Turkey.
Okay, I guess we are back, right? So I'm so sorry for the inconvenience technical issue. And now you watched the Freedom Convention introduction video, as we just mentioned with Kelly in the very beginning of our program, that we will be sharing our work with you, what we are doing and what we need. So Freedom Convention is one of the signature events of AS, the Advocates of Silence Turkey, in terms of, raising awareness and, finding ways to fight against injustices in Turkey. And this year's Freedom Convention, which is going to be the fourth one in 2023 on December 10th, the Global International Human Rights Day, we aim to eliminate pressing issues of international concern in Turkey, including the backslide of democracy, the collapse of rule of law, abuse of anti-terror laws, repercussions of restricted freedom of expression, and the extensive decline in human rights. And additionally, the convention will emphasize the critical role of the human rights or international human rights organizations, such as European Court of Human Rights, such as United Nations, and experts, coming from different walks of life. They will examine the impact and the potential of those international human rights bodies, organizations, and the impact and the potential of utilizing these mechanisms provided by the European Union or European Court of Human Rights and the United Nations different committees to bring about substantial change in terms of human rights and freedoms and justice in Turkey. And taking place on the Human Rights Day, December 10th, Freedom Convention Turkey 2023 intends to enhance understanding of the complex challenges in Turkey and propose strategies for effective engagement with the international human rights community, aiming to amplify our collective voice and advocate for those silenced by oppressive regimes, including Turkey. I think it's your turn, Kelly, right now. The floor is yours. What are we going to be talking about right now?
I think what we're going to talk about for a minute is some of the projects and the goals for AST. And just as an FYI, I did put, if anyone's interested in attending that convention, I did put the link in the YouTube chat so people can click on that and learn more, because I know I would love to be able to be there. So you can see on the screen some of the projects and estimated budgets. The total cost for all these projects, that some are a little bit hard to see because the text is a little bit small. Plus, I'm a little bit old, so it could be just extra small to me. But that Freedom Convention 2023 on Turkey, that's in partnership with the World Affairs Council on December 10th, the estimated budget for that is about $15,000. And there's a lot of different projects that, you'll see this image again throughout the event, the next hour and a half or so. And so I'm just going to call attention to a few of them. But because we just talked about the convention, I wanted to draw attention to that, the cost, the $15,000. And when you say $15,000, it sounds like a lot of money. But, if you take $15,000 and, even if, 1,000 people, gave a small piece of that, it wouldn't, 15 people giving $1,000, it doesn't really take long to, to generate what's needed for the convention. Or even 30 people each giving 500, right? Or 60 people each giving 250, which you could even do if you did 250 and you did that as something monthly, that would be like $20 a month for a year. It's really more doable than I think people realize. And so while a project may sound like a lot of money, like $15,000 for a conference, when we break it down to something monthly and we're able to to really manage it and just put it into our monthly budget, it makes it a whole lot, just makes it a whole lot easier. And nobody needs to be financially really hardship in order to, to be able to give. We don't want to put people in a hardship place. And, $20 a month, even break that down, $10 every 2 weeks. Well, what do I spend $10 every 2 weeks on? If I stopped one Starbucks drink a week for the month and give that to, Advocates of Silence Turkey, that would be the 240, right? It's just a a different way to look at it. And not everybody listening necessarily goes to Starbucks, but I use that for myself because that's not hard. That's not a hardship, right? But what is, something $5 a week that I'm willing to not do in order to start giving to AST, to make possible all of the projects that you see on the screen. There's also the very last item on the bottom right is a memorial project for the almost 1,000 lives that have been lost, and that memorial project is about $50,000. Again, if you just start breaking it down into, what could I do monthly, that is not going to cause a hardship, but it's just move into the conscious mind. What am I willing to stop doing in order to raise the consciousness around human rights, to make a contribution that's something meaningful, that I can see clearly where it's going, how it's making a difference. So I could keep going and going, Hafsa.
Yeah, I can hear you out, while you're speaking, but I don't think that we have enough time for.
I know, that's why I'm like, I have to stop talking.
No, I don't mean that. So thank you for, bringing up these important issues in our, projects that we are aiming to achieve in a very short amount of time. So it's really meaningful to share them with our audience so that they can understand what we need and why we need. And we said that we have lots of video messages from different people from different parts of the world, from different walks of life, and they are sharing their feelings, their opinions, and their work with us. Let's see what Bailey Hughes has to say for us. Bailey Hughes is a law student and has been on advisory board with AST for about 3 years. A highly active law student, Bailey works in her community to promote a more active and educated and involved community, while also aiming to make a positive impact on environmental and humanitarian policies. Let's hear her out.
Merhaba. My name is Bailey, and I'm an advisory board member for Advocates of Silence Turkey. Advocates of Silence Turkey is a vital organization to all those that face the brunt of the Erdogan regime. Through its work, Advocates of Silence Turkey has brought awareness to the ongoing human rights crisis in Turkey. By creating reports, publishing books, and creating avenues of representation at the European Court of Human Rights, Advocates of Silence Turkey serves as a resource to so many. Advocates of Silence Turkey has empowered those impacted by the Erdogan regime to share their stories and gives them the opportunities to be heard. That is why I implore you to give to Advocates of Silence Turkey this Giving Tuesday. Be a part of this incredible movement and raise awareness to the ongoing human rights abuses taking place in Turkey. Do this by donating to Advocates of Silence Turkey this Giving Tuesday. Be a part of the movement.
So I see that we need some information, some very upgraded information, right?
Yeah, just wondering. So we have this goal, right?
Yeah.
And our what's our goal?
Yeah, it's coming.
It's what?
Can you see the screen?
Yeah. So there's been 7 monthly donors, or no, pledge raised. Oh, our goal is to have 300 monthly donors. Got it. Sorry. Which I think is.
I think it. How much time? I think it's just been 20 something minutes, and we see that there is 7 monthly, pledges right now that's raised so far. Yep. And I believe it's good, but we need a bit, better pledges from now on. And it's just everybody sees that we have 3 monthly donor goals at the end of the day, which means that sustainability is very important for us, right, Kelly? Yeah. Knowing that we have monthly donations at a particular amount, which makes us feel that, okay, we can go on with that project, we can go on this project. So, right? It's a relief, right, in our humanitarian work.
Well, and it's really something that is a monthly. It makes it much easier for you as a nonprofit, for AST as a nonprofit, to plan,
Yeah.
right? And to know what to expect, and and know what's coming in, and how not just like pay general bills, but all those projects, right? And how do we bring those into fruition? So monthly donors is really one of the most powerful ways and most foundational and supportive. Not that we don't love the $10,000 donor, of course. In fact, how about a monthly $10,000 donor? Like I could get on board with that. But it's not an either or thing. It's just for people that may think I don't have enough, any amount, any monthly amount. And it's really one of the best ways for an organization to kind of to know what to plan.
Yes,
Makes it a little
absolutely.
easier.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think we're gonna hear from another seasoned of what. So Satbir Karkalsa is she referred to as a seasoned activist, which I love. A seasoned activist, and her background is in social justice and feminism. Co-founder of the Toronto Rape Crisis Center in the '70s, and child collective daycare centers and protecting children, helping. She's been a foster parent to teens with disabilities, and just, as I said, a seasoned activist, engaging and helping women, helping children, very much engaged in intercultural and interfaith work, working for peace, for community development and community activism, and also very much connected with HizMet members in Turkey through the SEMA Foundation, but also very active here in the U.S. with Advocates of Silence Turkey. So we're going to hear from Satbir.
I'm Satbir Karkalsa from Tucson, Arizona. Just a visitor and guest and friend to AST, Advocates of Silence Turkey. This is a message from my heart to those of you who can or are thinking about donating to this effort. Please consider that you're safe. You have a home. You're not afraid that people are going to come into your home and take you away. When you consider your donations to uplift the voices of those who have been silenced by being incarcerated, by being abused, by being molested, by having all of their livelihood taken away from them, by being forced into diaspora, and by being imprisoned or killed. Dig deep, be generous. They need you. They need us. Blessings.
This is so sincere, right? I think I have known her for maybe 2 or 3 years through her work, not in person, but I see the sincerity in her eyes, while talking about really human rights issues. So that makes sense. That makes an impact, right? So we are diving into AST's work right now. We talked about Freedom Convention, and now there's a huge impactful event. Actually, we did the exhibition in Kansas too, very close to your city too, Kelly, social genocide exhibition. And I don't know, there are lots of words to describe it, but it's not that possible, without seeing the exhibition. Because let me tell you something. AST, was established with the exclusive mission of combating human rights violations and injustices in Turkey dedicating the past several years, maybe 7 or more years, to this cause. And I often remind myself that the cycle of violence and persecution predates us. It hasn't started with us. It didn't start with us. And unfortunately, it won't cease with us. You know, you and me, or, you know, thousands of people back in Turkey. And Turkey's historical context is marked by so many massacres and forced disappearances and arbitrary detentions and instances of torture. And presently, prisons in Turkey house hundreds of thousands of sick and elderly individuals. Many of them are prisoners of conscience or political prisoners. Some even lost their lives due to the extensive purges, poor conditions, or health issues. And now it's referred to as social genocide. And individuals like Halime Gülsu, Garibe Gezer, Mustafa Kabakçıoğlu, Gökhan Açıkkollu, Tahir Elçi, Ahmet Burhan Ataç, Cemile Çağırga, and Ceylan Önkul are not mere statistics. They are not just figures or facts. They are people with stories, some told, others untold, and many left unfinished. And ASD takes on the responsibility of telling their stories and advocating for justice on their behalf everywhere, in any platform possible. I mentioned lots of names here, and there are thousands of that I cannot mention here. But to be able to know those people and their stories, this exhibition helps a lot, because you could see their personal belongings, personal, stuff that they somehow used at some point in their lives. So let's watch the video, and maybe we can understand a little bit better that I mean here.
Did not know this existed before today, which breaks my heart and helps me see the purpose of this exhibit. And now I know, my child knows, and we can share and be voices for this as well. And seeing the personal belongings along with the personal stories is very touching, and helps me see my family. That's how I feel here. It's a very moving exhibit.
I think I didn't know exactly what to expect tonight with this exhibit. It's really powerful and it's personal. I think that's the first thing that I would say, is that it brings stories to life and gives you a realization that there really is a person that goes with each name that really exists. And working on understanding all this for a long time, and I think I've actually made it more complicated than it really is. It's just, sharing our lives together and being there for each other and standing in the gap, as they say, for other people. And so I think I have.
I wanted to come and volunteer here to spread awareness for this major issue that's happening in Turkey, because I believe that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, just like MLK says. And so I wanted to be a part of a change, just like any conflict around the world. In one place, other places can get the same thing eventually. So we have to be looking out for one another.
Yeah, maybe you noticed that a lady in the very beginning of the video told that I didn't know. That's why stories are important, and the social genocide exhibition actually makes it possible to know people beyond borders.
Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal. Being able to tell a story, not just like read it, but to touch it, with those items. And how many millions of people are like that woman at the beginning, that, wow, I didn't know. And the more, that's what I meant earlier when I said about, it's, yes, giving voice to the voiceless, but giving voice to those we can't hear. And the voice that we're giving is their story.
Very well put. Thank you. So now we have another live guest here, Carrie O'Rourke. I hope that I pronounced her name correctly. This is one of my fears, you know. Carrie, are you here? Yes, Carrie O'Rourke.
Yes, you did pronounce it correctly. Thank you.
Proudly, yes. So first of all, I want to say welcome, that you are with us again in one of our, you know, most important events. You're always with us. Thank you so much. Let me introduce you first. While you, Carrie O'Rourke, is a PhD candidate, which I relate, you know, very well. She recognizes that reading books and writing papers reveals little about her character. For over 40 years, she has actively engaged in various ministries, dedicating her service to the poor. And as a member of Grace and Holy Trinity Cathedral in the Kansas City area, she serves as chairperson of the Interfaith Ecumenical Committee and contributes to the Outreach Committee. And she's also a very active volunteer of AST. And Carrie, I know that you are writing a dissertation, a very unusual one. And can you share with us what you are writing and why you are writing?
Well, I'll be defending this dissertation in about a week and a half. So I'm a little nervous. But the title, I know, it's about done. The title of the dissertation is Turkic Educators and Students Breaking Their Silence. And it's an oral history, and I call it a tangled web of political power. I really wanted to say political nonsense, but they wouldn't let me. But it's an oral history, and what it does is it offers a counter narrative to the government-controlled media presentation of what's actually happening in Turkey. And what I've done is I've interviewed quite a few people and written their story, what they've told me happened to them. And what really kind of, you know, the exhibit, I came to New Jersey, I saw the exhibit, I helped with your presentation there. And then I said, we have to bring that to Kansas City. And I, you know, worked with the group, with AST and the volunteers to bring that exhibit to Kansas City, because what Kelly just said is so many people have no idea what's happening in Turkey. And one of the big complaints of my professors, or one of the big challenges of my professors, is like, well, what does that have to do with education in the United States? You know, so what if Turkish educators are being persecuted and put in, so what? What's the so what question? And I think that's what the message is that we have to pass on to people here, is it's a big so what. It's a huge so what, because it's global education. And one of the pillars of Fethullah Gulen's principles is that people elevate themselves from poverty or from whatever condition they're in through education. And if we eradicate educators and students, which, you know, they've closed all of the Hizmet schools in Turkey, and wherever they could reach in 177 or 170 countries, wherever they've been able to close them, they've closed them there too. That's why it's Turkic educators, not just Turkish educators. There's a slight difference, because it's a threat. You know, peace is a threat to an authoritarian political regime. And that's what this counter narrative addresses, is to say, I was just an innocent student. I went to meet with my professor turned me in, and the next thing you know, I'm in prison. Or I was just an educator, or I was a professor at a university, and I got put in prison for it. It's crazy, you know. And but the thing is that every single one, what's so inspiring is every single one of these stories, people turned that very negative experience into this beautiful flower, this beautiful thing. One guy got sent to prison. He was there for 5.5 years. And there's kind of a Turkish thing about the school of Yusuf, which is if an innocent man goes to prison, they study the Quran and Allah speaks to them, right? Well, he actually made a school of Yusuf in the prison. He got sent to a higher security prison separated from his Hizmet brothers, and he started teaching. He started a school inside the prison, and for 5.5 years, he taught the prisoners basic literacy skills, math and science, and so on. And his philosophy was like, well, what do we expect them to do when they get out? If we don't teach them something, how can they do anything different, right? So he took this very negative experience and turned it into this beautiful thing, which is very inspiring to me. And it matters what happens.
Can I ask you a question, Carrie?
Yes, please.
Because it popped in my head right when you started talking about one of the biggest things that often comes up for people is, okay, this is Turkey. What about my own backyard?
Right.
And how do you respond to that when people...
My professors insisted I put a position statement at the very beginning of my dissertation to say, I am a white Christian woman who's never been to Turkey and am still doing this research. And I'm doing it because it's important, because the Hizmet people are a people committed to peace, and they're being unjustly persecuted. They're being unjustly targeted, and children are dying, mothers are dying, fathers are dying, families are being torn apart for only the purpose of political gain. And that's period. That's it. And if they don't, like if the person, what the goal is to silence the person, and the ultimate silencing is death. But I can silence you in other ways. I can take away all your assets. People don't realize this. They take away all their assets. They take away their homes. They break up families.
Right.
The harm that's done is irreparable. And it continues to happen. And it's something that we really need an intervention in to make it better. And when the people come out, when they somehow escape out of Turkey, we have to reach our hand out to them and say, welcome here. Let me help you adjust, because what you have to offer is important, and you are a valuable human being. And so is a Turkish community here in Kansas City, but they're all over. And, I'm teaching this class online every Saturday and Sunday. And I talk to these people that they've been separated from their families for years to try to just be alive. And it's unfortunate. It's sad. And it costs a lot of money. And that's why one thing you said, Kelly, was like, I can just give up Starbucks, once a week or whatever. I think tithing is a privilege. And tithing, in case that's not a Turkish word, by the way, I think the opportunity to be generous is a privilege. And the opportunity, for me, it has been such an incredible honor and privilege to hear these stories and to try to honor these stories in writing them. It's a gift for me to have the opportunity to contribute money. Money's nothing.
Yeah.
Saving these people's lives is important.
Right.
If it takes a little bit of money, we got a lot of it,
We do. And that's the point I was trying to make, is that it actually isn't a lot.
It is.
It's like I was using the Starbucks example, and I'm not like, sloughing it off.
I don't make a fortune here. I'm a PhD student, but every little bit counts. And really, it has to do with how it transforms your heart. The opportunity to be generous and the opportunity to gift and support. I have seen how hard these people work. The people that came to Kansas City, the women that came to Kansas City to help set up the exhibit, we did our best. They sent the stuff here and we set it up and we kind of had it nice and we thought, looked pretty good, right? They walked in and they were like, oh no, they made it beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And rightly so, because these gifts were precious. Each one of these family members, they gave a little pair of shoes from a child, or they gave a broken pair of glasses from someone who was studying, who died. You cannot walk through that exhibit without crying. Right. No human being can. If you do, there's something wrong with you, honestly. I really would say you probably can't read this dissertation without getting a little bit emotional, because
you need to give it to everybody.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to reading it.
No, it's gonna be hard. Technical and mind-numbingly boring, but the stories in it.
I know. No,
I'll decide what's mind-numbingly boring. Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing that. You know, as we always mention that, you know, there is lots of ways to raise awareness or to do something. This is another way, which is not a very common way, but thank you for doing that, you know, bringing up into the academia.
Right, right. And I had to fight to get it there because people are like, what? Well, you know, the what's the big deal kind of question. It's a huge big deal.
Yeah.
No one expects
education is almost always the doorway to a more abundant, meaningful, generative life.
And I will tell you this, there is very little difference between the Hizmet way of life and the Christian way of life.
I know.
The call to Christianity.
Or most any major faith tradition.
I was going to say the same thing. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Jewish,
we have so much more in common.
Buddhist.
Factors are different, but we are going to this, you know, towards the same place or same way, wanting the same thing. So,
but even the value, the moral code, and the call to value, the value of life, the value of family. One of the things that comes through absolutely in the dissertation and in the books that, you know, anybody who wants to read more about this or learn more about this, go to Amazon.com and buy a Mina Layla book. I mean, Baby in a Bag, Silent Scream, any of those books.
We are going to be talking about IST's publications, and thanks for reminding that. Yeah, there are lots of, you know, outlets that we can read the stories of lost people. Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank you for joining us.
Right.
Keep up the work.
Best of luck to you in this endeavor. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Bye.
I think you know, we live very near each other. I think I see her more online than in person. I just love Carrie, though. She's fabulous.
Yeah.
She's a model. Like,
I know, yeah. So what do you think?
Sorry?
What are we doing now?
We're talking about where we're at with the giving. Here's the projects again. You know, the goal is to get 300 monthly donors. $50 every month makes a huge difference, right? That's $600 for the year. And there's, you know, here on the screen, again, multiple projects and their estimated budgets. So the first item in the upper left says Torture in Turkey, the first book about torture in Turkey that it'll be on Amazon and on Google Books. And to produce that book is, you know, the estimated cost is $9,000 to $11,000. I tend to lean towards the higher number, having been in the world of nonprofit for a really long time. I know that we have budgets, and we generally tend to underestimate because we're such giving people, you know. But so I tend to lean towards, if I'm going to shoot for a goal, I'm going to go for the 11,000. So that's 11 people giving $1,000. You know, you break $1,000 into.
Oh, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, and it's not, so if it's not 11 people giving 1,000, then it's, you know, 6 people giving 500, you know, break 500 into, that's $50 a month. Right. So, and also, of course, we just, you know, whatever somebody can afford to do to support the work. It's, you know, Carrie brought up about generosity. If people just I'm one of those, you know, geeky, nerdy, intellectual people. Like, I love academia, love learning. If somebody wanted to pay me to get their PhD, I'd probably do it for them. And, so I always look at the root of words, and the root of the word generosity means life-giving. It literally means life-giving. So being generous is, you know, generous in body, mind, spirit, certainly financially, relationships is life-giving. So.
Yep.
Do we have an update?
I think I'm going to get an update later on.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, we have a video message right now again from the middle part of the United States, Reverend Ed Stevenson. Ed is a retired United Methodist pastor living in the Kansas City area, and in 2006, a group of Kansas City pastors visited Turkey to learn about Turkey and the Hizmet movement. And the trip inspired Ed to become involved in the interfaith work, and he has published several poems in Fountain magazine and filmed a short video for use in his work. And Ed feels blessed by the friends he's made through this work and by the humility and courage and intelligence and kindness he has seen. Let's hear out what Ed has to say to us.
Hi, my name is Ed Stevenson. I'm a retired United Methodist pastor living in a suburb of Kansas City. I've collaborated with the Hizmet movement for over 15 years, and most recently with the Advocates for Silenced Turkey. I was attracted to this Hizmet movement by their commitments to interfaith dialogue, human rights, and democracy, and by their work in education for all ages and their emergency relief work around the world. My continuing commitment has been based on the authenticity, generosity, and compassion of those whom I have encountered in this movement. Advocates for Silenced Turkey grew out of the Hizmet movement as a response to the attempts by the Erdogan government in Turkey to silence anyone who questioned his increasingly autocratic actions. Many have been harassed, thrown out of their professional positions, even legitimately elected positions. Many have been forced into exile, imprisoned, in some cases tortured, and in some cases even killed. All because they have participated or even have just been rumored to have been participated in the legal, peaceful, community-building work of various Hizmet groups. The current politically dominant powers in Turkey have persecuted anyone they feel might raise questions about the actions or integrity of the current regime. Advocates for Silenced Turkey are countering this persecution in a number of ways. The advocates have supported many who have left Turkey to escape the persecution. They have done this by helping provide general resettlement aid, such as housing, work opportunities, and a community of care. I've been most involved in helping with the publication of the stories of those imprisoned and those persecuted, such as young soldiers falsely accused of mutiny, their families, and others. The most poignant stories have been those of the children of parents who've been treated in such unjust ways, destroying the children's peace and security in their young lives. This is an organization that is working to relieve both the economic and political dislocation of those who have been silenced, as well as the emotional pain of being unjustly torn from jobs, families, and homeland. I hope you will support the work of speaking for those in Turkey who have been unjustly silenced by an unjust regime. Thank you very much. This is Ed Stevenson from Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm back.
There you are. So we have an update. Oh, look at that. So we now have 16 monthly donors.
I want to say mashallah.
Sorry?
I want to say mashallah because, mashallah is kind of, saying, oh, that's well, and I don't want any evil eye here, and I want, this keep going and going in a good way. So mashallah.
Yes.
And inshallah.
Mashallah, yes. And if you see on the screen, there are a few different ways that you can actually donate. There's PayPal, there's going to the silencedturkey.org website and donate. You can use your credit card. There's ZELLE, which is, the bank, through the bank transfer. That's one of the easiest, probably most secure ways. And through Patreon, I believe. That you can, that's an easy way to become a monthly donor. And it really is, it's easy insofar as it just becomes part of your monthly, what you do. So we have 16 monthly donors. pledged. I'm not sure if there are individual donors as well, if there's a dollar amount that we might be sharing. I don't know. But our goal is 300 monthly donors. So maybe, in the next little bit of time, we can hit the 10% mark, which is 30.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry?
Fingers crossed. Let's hope for more.
Yes. We're going to move to another, listen to somebody else, another video. And this is a young woman who's in high school. Reyhan Kas moved to the US from Turkey, I believe about 4 years ago. In that time has learned to speak English and has furthered her art career, which I love saying that, furthered her art career while she's still in high school, like having a career as an artist while you're in high school. She says her love for art began very early on, that she was been doing art since she was much younger. And as she moved into middle school, she started painting and doing sketches. And then as she got older, she says her art became more than just shading and drawing shapes, that she began doing speeches on human rights and started writing pieces, which also expressed her art in some abstract and direct ways. She loved debates, which I'm a fan of that. So love her. Haven't met her, but love her. She loves debates, loves expressing her opinions, and art is writing and debates are these different outlets. I know she's been working with AST on their advisory board for several years. So let's hear from Reyhan Kas.
Hi everyone, my name is Reyhan. I've been part of Advocates of Silence Turkey for the past 4 years, and I've been volunteering and joining projects like the Genocide exhibition and Hope Stories, and these projects have helped me heal from the things I've experienced in Turkey, as well as understand other people better. I believe that it is not only our responsibility to be empathetic towards others, but it is something that we have to make a part of our lives on a daily basis. And I believe that we are all one soul and that we feel each other's pain, and that we should, contribute to this lived experience by understanding the pain of others. And Advocates of Silence Turkey has helped me a lot with that. And while I was translating the Hope Stories, I saw and read a lot of kids' stories and their lived experience, their emotions, how they've dealt with these issues. It made me realize that I need to be a part of this. I need to help these kids. I need to help these babies in prison. I need to be a part of this lived experience, even if it is not in my life anymore, even if it is not affecting me anymore. Because we're human. And in order to be human, we need to feel each other's pain and to help each other. While I believe that not everyone is capable of doing that, just being a part of such thing, not even donations, just being a part of this thing, hearing each other out, helping each other, supporting each other, is very important. And Advocates of Silence Turkey has done that for me. It is not just a volunteer organization, but a family. And I would love to see more brothers and sisters in this family. I would love to have more people join us, because I would want everyone to experience the joy I experience when I see these projects happening. We come together to understand one another and to help others in pain and experiencing these things. And to see people for who they really are, which is a whole, one soul. And yeah, I would love for everyone to be a part of this. Please share your donations, helps, anything. Whatever comes through you, whatever is in your heart. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Okay, I love the last sentence. Whatever's in your heart.
Same here, yeah. She explained her inner self in a very well way as a young person, in a sincerity. And also she explained why we should care others too, because we are humans.
Yep.
And to be able to a real human, we should do that. That's
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
simple. Yeah.
It's hard to, at one point I realized I forgot just how young she is. And, but clearly an old soul.
Yes, absolutely.
with a powerful, powerful message.
Yes, yes, yes. We have that, traditional faith too, a young person in a young body, but in an old soul. And
Yes.
understanding. That's a very well, yeah.
Yeah.
So now we are gonna watch a video which in a very brief way tells about AST's activities and programs. And as I mentioned earlier and several times, as AST family, Advocates of Silence family, we are committed to fighting against human rights violations and injustices in Turkey, engaging in various diverse projects and initiatives to foster positive change in these domains. And we are determined not to let the names and stories of those who fell victim to persecution fade away. We don't want that. And their memories will always be preserved, and we will persistently seek justice on their behalf. And our unwavering dedication is to advocate for the restoration of democracy and justice in Turkey. And in that regard, let's watch a video to have a glimpse of AST activities and programs. Yes.
Wow.
Wow. And there is a lot to do. There is more.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know that, you'd have to watch that repeatedly to really catch all of the activities and programs. And that's not even a complete list. So want to take a minute and talk about the 143 social genocide practices, and we're going to see a little video, but it's these 143 social genocide practices in Erdogan's Turkey, which is it's a work that presents this list of flagrant human rights violations to the degree of social genocide, which we saw a little bit about, perpetrated after the coup attempt in July of 2016. And within this, within the looking at these 143 social genocide practices, it's taking a look, although there's this attempt to create a perception in the public opinion of Turkey in the world that these laws were issued solely for the purpose of dismissals, and that the situation is far different than what we're talking about here. It's just not true. And so the report identified 143 rights violations and social genocide practices because some of these practices are actually executed publicly and known to most everyone. So AST noted some of these during their research and their interviews, but this is a publication that you can get. And the fact is that many of the violations were noticed in a way that shows the possibility that there may be many more violations going on that haven't even been identified, that have not been discovered or not even given a voice to. So in this, it's the study of rights violations, and there will be future editions with new applications, new findings, but wanted to really give you a little deeper insight into these social genocide practices.
Yes, unfortunately, crimes against humanity are, increasingly going on in Turkey and across the world. So we need more voices, we need more actions to fight against them, to speak up against them. We have another video message from someone who is an educator too, that we were talking about the importance of education, Josh Hoops. Josh Hoops is a professor of communication at William Jewell College, and he's matching undergrad students with ASD volunteers. And Dr. Hoops has taught intercultural communication, organizational communication, media writing, and public speaking, and the role of identity that plays in cross-cultural communications. His current work focuses on the relationship between race and art spaces we inhabit. Yeah, now we are listening to Josh Hoops and his message.
Hello, I am Dr. Josh Hoops. I am a professor at William Jewell College, and I'm happy to share with you a little bit about my experience working with the Hizmet movement. So, for the past 5 years or so, I've had the opportunity to partner with organizations like the Dialogue Institute, among others, and I've really tried to seize every possible opportunity to engage in interfaith and cross-cultural dialogue, participating in the iftars, among other things. And as a professor, I've also tried to connect my students with representatives of these different organizations. And I will tell you the reason why I engage or participate in Hizmet events is because I believe that cross-cultural dialogue has the power to break down barriers, right? Challenge ignorance, cultivate intercultural friendship, and build solidarity between groups. Thank you for listening.
Yes, nice, smooth. I love that kind of messages and insights. there should be an image that the audience will see on our screen right now, and in the meantime, I wanna say something on it. So as just you mentioned earlier, Kelly, there is, different kinds of works, human rights works here that our audience can see, and how much these works cost for us, for the team working in AST relentlessly. And as AST, our primary objectives involve raising awareness across various platforms and translating this awareness into actionable steps. Action in our context, in human rights context, refers to urging authorities to reinstate the rule of law and uphold human rights in Turkey, in our cause. And while also holding Turkish government accountable for its oppressive atrocities and actions. Central to our approach is the completion and submission of reports to relevant entities, committees, and commissions. We have produced and shared various reports addressing issues such as the situation in Turkey's prisons, for example, the plight of sick and elderly inmates, violations of women's rights, and global renditions by the government, incidents of torture, and the breakdown of the rule of law, among many others. Additionally, we actively organize protests and events, including a unique human rights festival last summer, featuring awareness activities for kids, for young people, for adults, exhibitions, storytelling activities, parades, and more, all aimed at fostering engagement with human rights issues in people's daily lives, with the collective hope that these efforts, contribute to the fight for human rights. We remain dedicated to our work, as just you see, through reports, through festivals, through conferences, through panels, through artwork, through exhibitions. Yes, now we are listening to you, Kelly.
Well, I was thinking about when you were talking about the different, projects that you had, talked about reports and, and just, while that image has very specific projects on it, I think it's also important for people to realize that those reports, right, they cost thousands of dollars, to put those reports together. Some of the white papers, if you go to silenceturkey.org and you go under resources, you can find many papers and white papers and some documentary, not necessarily the video documentary, but the information, and all of those, doing all that work takes thousands of dollars in sort of, in sweat equity, what we call. Even legal applications, are $2,000 to $3,000 for one legal application for one person, and we're talking about thousands of people. It's just, I just wanted to put a more general, while there's all these very specific projects that even the overall picture, and not to mention the administrative, like what does it cost just to run a business kind of thing.
Absolutely. So yeah, your perspective is really, is something.
Yeah. So that's why every dollar is really important, and why we're so grateful, for any amount.
By the way, I want to remind something, Kelly. Maybe we forgot to tell about that. We shared it on Twitter, but yeah, it's good to share it again. So we have at 300, monthly donors. This is our goal. I mean, our goal is to have 300 monthly donors. Tonight's event, this virtual fundraising, is a kickoff of a 4 weeks, campaign to get support, because it's giving season, it's Giving Tuesday week. So yes, we want to reach a huge amount of our goal tonight, but we have still a week until next week. So let's keep going, let's keep working.
Yes, it builds the energy, and we want to, the more commitment we have tonight, the more energy is that flows into the next, as the days follow, and continuing to connect with people and their generosity. So we're going to hear from a gentleman. His name is Tyler Kaufman. Actually, he's a Reverend Doctor, Tyler Kaufman. We're going to share his video. He's an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church, and his passion is sharing the gospel of Jesus in a down-to-earth way, and what he refers to as getting his hands dirty in service. So he's in his years of doing ministry, he has pastored in a diverse range of settings, from a rural ranching community in Montana to a historic Filipino church in Hawaii, suburban churches in Kansas, an urban church in Denver, and always focused very much on supporting the unsheltered. In each setting, Tyler says that he's shaped by innovative ministries and interfaith dialogue and being in service. And here we go, passion for educating. So he really wants to encourage people to bring their own dreams, their own God-given dreams, as he says, to bring those to life. In his free time, because all of that doesn't sound busy enough, he enjoys spending quality time with his son, Theodore. His idea of a good time is getting outdoors and being active. So he enjoys rock climbing, hiking, outdoor sports, playing board games. He definitely, no grass grows under Tyler's feet. I get the idea. So let's listen to Tyler.
I am a Midwestern kid from the heartland. As such, I was deeply instilled with U.S. American values like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to defend oneself. These freedoms are blessings that will be mentioned this Thanksgiving weekend around my family's dinner table. They are innate to my understanding of what it means to be a citizen of the world, and I believe they should be made possible to everyone. It often catches me off guard when I hear these freedoms are being restricted to people because of the way they look, worship, or believe, because it's simply different than the common majority in the society they were born into. I support groups where these freedoms are being expanded. And that's part of the reason I support Advocates of Silenced Turkey. They are giving voice to those being persecuted because they are different, and their freedoms are being restricted and even trampled upon in some cases. This Giving Tuesday, I hope you will consider supporting Advocates of Silenced Turkey as well, and the expansion of freedoms of all people, so that way we can grow into being who God created us to be, that we might make the largest impact of difference in the world and in our little sphere of it, our corner of it. This Giving Tuesday, I want to say, I support Advocates of Silenced Turkey.
I know.
Yeah.
Just kind of go, oh.
Yeah, just here, yeah.
Yep, makes my heart. It always makes my heart sing.
Yeah.
Loving to hear how generous people are. And I believe what he said, that
Yeah.
we're each created to just be who God created us to be, which is inherently giving and good. I think even though we're talking about terrible things, I do believe in the inherent goodness of humanity.
Yeah. What do we have?
Wow. Yay!
Wow, mashallah, mashallah.
Yes, mashallah. Oh my gosh. So we're at 35 monthly donors. Remember earlier I said maybe next time we could be at 10%? We're over it.
Why
See,
not?
you just say the intention, the affirmation, and we bring it forward.
Yes, yeah, and God hears us, universe hears us, and people hear us.
Yes.
I saw a comment on YouTube and I loved it. Our vice president of our ASD board, each one, reach one. I love this kind of, perfect slogan. Don't forget about it. Yeah, each one, each one.
Yep.
So, okay. It's 35 monthly donor right now. This pledge, these are raised pledges, and we are hoping that very proudly, we very strongly believe that we'll reach our goal.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sick. I've been sick since last night, and you know, in the morning when I woke up, my voice, oh my God, I thought what I'm gonna do, and then now I'm good, but still, you know, maybe you can, you know, notice that I have fever and I'm hanging in here. So, okay.
You know what my belief is around that, Hafsa? And I know we have lots more to see and to talk about, but my belief is that when we are called to do something like this, to do the work of God, right? To do the work of spirit or whatever, however you define God, right? Or human goodness, when we're called to do it, whatever's going on, like not feeling well, just kind of gets moved. I just think it just, you know, it's a divine thing, and it just gets moved to the side. And then when we're done, if it comes back, it comes back, and we heal it and we keep moving. But I honestly believe that when we're called to do something like this, whatever might, you know, in our human form, whatever might get in the way, just gets moved to the side because of how important and powerful this work is. That's my, you know, you give a minister a mic, they bleed a sermon, and that's, you know, that's the joke. That's the joke.
No, I know, but I agree. You know, in our faith tradition, it's very similar to. I think there are some verses in the Quran too, you know, regarding this issue, and maybe some people relate, but maybe some don't. But I see that work in AST or in other platforms, wherever I'm trying to touch lives, you know, in different ways through different means. I believe that I'm doing something for God because I'm doing something for the living creatures that He created in His love. So yeah, I'm hoping that, and I believe what you said too.
Well, and I think it's evidenced by every whether we're talking to somebody live or we're watching their video. If you notice, people that are really engaged in this kind of work are really busy, and right, they're always doing a lot of things.
Tell me about it.
Yes. So it's like, well, and the energy that they get to keep doing other things comes from doing their passion, doing, you know, being who they've come here to be.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for this video.
You're welcome.
So as we were, as we have been, speaking about different works in human rights arena, art is another way, another, line, or, maybe a very huge platform. And there is not a single way for oppressors, Kelly, for dictators, tyrants to persecute people. So there should not be a single way to speak up or, fight against them. For this reason, as ASD, we use all the opportunities we can to give a voice to voiceless people, to speak up, to raise awareness about human rights. And art is a powerful language to talk about this. Concerning this, skilled volunteers create amazing works of art that tell the stories of people vividly. Let's see some of them.
I love that image of the chain link fence where it opens at the top and becomes the doves. Oh my gosh, I love that one.
Sometimes a piece of artwork, speaks
Oh,
hundreds of thousands of words, right? Powerful.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So there is a video message from someone. There are people sometimes we call, sore spots or soft spots in our lives. Young people are kind of, soft spots in my life, in my heart. But among them, there are a few, a bit more softer. Tarık is one of them, Tarık Atasoy. We are going to be hearing from him. He was born in 2002 in Turkey, and he faced immense challenges at 14, at a very young age, when his father was dismissed, arrested, and sentenced to 8 years. And they, as a family, endured financial hardships during his imprisonment, along with other, difficulties. And at the age of 18, the tragedy struck again with his father's death from COVID, due to prison negligence, And after overcoming profound distress, Tarık moved to Izmir, but faced another loss, deepening his depression. And his primary goal became exposing the injustice his father faced. In December 2022, thankfully, Tarık moved to Seattle, United States, studying computer science for a year. And he's an amazing guy. I love him a lot. Now we are going to be hearing from him, Tarık Atasoy.
My name is Tarık Atasoy. My father, Veysel Atasoy, was a police officer, a man of integrity falsely accused and imprisoned. I was just 14 when he was unjustly sent to prison, and 18 when he tragically passed away under torturous conditions. He spent 35 days handcuffed to a hospital bed, a clear victim of inhumane treatment and torture leading to his premature death. My grief was immense, and I felt a deep sense of hopelessness, finding everything meaningless. My primary goal became to seek justice for my father and to bring to light the grave injustice he endured. The Advocates of Silence Turkey organization became the voice for my suppressed emotions and inner outcry. We entrusted them with my father's precious belongings, photographs, and his story. They displayed these items with immense care and sensitivity, highlighting the injustice he faced. Despite joining the program at the last minute, they included my story. My aim is to ensure that the memory of my father, Veysel Atasoy, and others who suffered similar fates is never forgotten. I encourage you to support Advocates of Silence Turkey organization, especially on Given Tuesday. Your contributions help sustain their efforts in advocating for justice and human dignity. The support they offer to families like mine is valuable. Thank you for listening.
See
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
I know.
Yeah.
I can see why he's it's hard, you wouldn't know just to, even if you just were having a casual conversation with him and his face, and he just, he's the smile, and he's hopeful.
Pure, right? There is a
Yes.
pureness, pure. I mean, he said that, I won't let my father's memory, be forgotten, and we won't.
No.
Won't either, yeah.
No.
Okay, what we got?
So I think, again, about the projects and the goals for AST, the one in particular that I was looking at was the second one down on the left, the report and survey on women political prisoners in Turkey by Vonya Womack. Now, I've actually heard her speak at a couple of UN events in the last few years, and she's really quite powerful. And while it's called a report and survey on women political prisoners, she's really a powerful voice. And so the estimated cost for that report and survey is $16,000 to $18,000. And it has the focus on, the women political prisoners. It's not, sometimes I think we forget that when we think about prisoners, and even tonight, talking a lot about, men that have been imprisoned, and We don't want to, and I'm not discounting the men at all. I just want to make sure we don't forget the number of women that are silent, the number of women that that need us to speak up because they can't be heard.
Yeah.
And so this report by Vanya Womack is, you know, I'm going to say $18,000. You know, again, I lean towards the higher end. There's the bloody tie, you know, which again is the fourth one down on the left-hand side, is the story of the social genocide exhibition, and that's a $9,000. And so, you know, coming back to our goal and our focus of becoming a monthly donor, you know, something, you know, $9,000 is may at first sound like a lot, but again, you know, we break it down. It's 9 people that give $1,000, and if your way of giving $1,000 is breaking it up monthly, then it becomes something much more, you know, doable. Because I know for me, if you just said $9,000, I'd be like, oh, you know, that's a lot of money. However, when I put it into the context of my daily life, when I put it into the context of how my daily life that is quite privileged compared to who we're talking about tonight, it becomes something that is, you know, that I can be more generous than maybe I realize or think.
You know what, Kelly, you mentioned Vanya's work. You know, when you do something, you know, writing that report, for example, it's not just, you know, sitting down on a table and writing.
No,
the interview phase, and there is the analysis phase, and then there is the writing phase, and then there is the going to conference and presenting them, you know, travels, lots of things. So when we talk about the project, there are lots of, you know, deepen, I don't know how can we call it, but, you know, children of these projects, you know, more projects, grandchildren of these projects. So yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, and it's not, you know, while it's got her name on it, you know, it's more than just her. So.
Absolutely. So we have a video message, but not from a person, from a board, AST's advisory board. And this board is a group of volunteers who gather virtually regularly, including members from Arizona, New York, Kansas, Missouri, Texas, India, Colombia, and American descendants. And they strive to be the voice for the voiceless people in Turkey. Just that. So let's hear them.
Bailey.
Hi, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I want to encourage you to support Advocates of Silence Turkey for Giving Tuesday. Advocates of Silence Turkey is a really important organization, and it helps let everyone hear the impactful stories that are being told out of Turkey.
I'm Miriam.
Yes.
Should I go?
Yes, please.
I'm Miriam. I would encourage people to give on Giving Tuesday for AST. It tells so much about the stories of people from Turkey who have been badly treated and have come up with some amazing stories of survival and learning English very quickly and making the best of the situation that they were in. It's inspiring.
I'm Gretchen, and I'm speaking today just to encourage you to support Advocates for Silence Turkey. I've been part of this organization for, I don't know, maybe 5 years, and am very impressed by the work that the community from Turkey and living in asylum in the United States and Canada and elsewhere have been doing to try to support those in prison and those being persecuted back home under the Erdogan government. Their work is very effective, it is very impactful, and I hope you will support them.
My name is Carolina, and I want to encourage you to give to Advocates of Silence Turkey so that we can these stories out to more and more people so that they learn what's happening right now in Turkey.
You know, we have so many things to be grateful for, especially in this country, and so many things we take for granted in the United States. A lot of freedom that other people in other countries don't have, like the freedom of speech, and many other, the freedom of religion, many other things. And there's very few things that we can physically do from here in the United States to help our brothers and sisters in Turkey who are suffering and being tortured and in prison. I've personally spoken to some of these people and listened to their story, and it's pretty gut-wrenching. So I would just ask that you dig deep and consider giving, because AST is one of those organizations that actually makes a difference and helps these people, helps people reestablish their lives and survive some pretty serious tragedy. And I know that there's a lot of things going on in the world, but this is one organization that makes a big difference. Thank you for considering it.
My name is Lou, and I've been part of the AST program for about 10 years. And it's very valuable that working on establishing relationships of understanding and friendliness and care across international boundaries, keeping in mind the experiences that have happened in the country of Turkey, violations of human rights. And we encourage everybody to find ways to support the program of AST, beginning with Giving Tuesday and in other ways. So thank you very much for your support.
I'm Gloria, and I also have been attending AST for about 10 years. And I would just ask that you would support AST, because through our connection with AST, we have listened to so many heart-wrenching, just unbelievable stories of what Turkish people go through. Please support AST and help us to hear fewer and fewer of those stories.
You know, I think that was one of the board meetings I was absent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is fine. You know,
you are totally here.
Yes, I MC, you know.
Yeah. So what do we have right now?
I think we have an update.
See what's going on.
An update for our challenge. Yes, look at that, 51.
Oh, mashallah. Yeah, I'm so happy. Yeah.
Yes, 51 monthly donors. That's really exciting, with a goal of 300. And that's, you know, and again, we still have a few more days. You know, use your credit card, go to silenceturkey.org. You can, you know, pay by credit card there. You can use PayPal. The address is on the screen, and it's also been in the chat, you know, if you're watching on YouTube. ZELLE, you can, again, that information is in the chat on YouTube, and that's a bank transfer. There's also Patreon, which is a way to be a monthly, you know, an ongoing monthly subscriber, an ongoing monthly donor. So this is really exciting, Hafsa. This makes me happy because I can see, you know, projects coming to fruition, you know, the different ones that we've been talking about. So that's exciting.
I'm excited too. Fingers crossed. So going on, you know, Kelly, archiving the story, we are talking about stories of real life, real people, you know, real life stories, true life stories. Archiving these stories of people, of persecuted people. I mean, these real life experiences is a quite significant part of our work. And so far we have published many books, you know, tens of books in different languages, actually, compiled of the stories through interviews with the survivors of the huge purge. And people can find them on Amazon, on Google Books. And let me check my notes, and I want to talk about two you know, very recent books here. And one of them is Justice is, just a sec, I don't want to make a mistake. Yeah, Justice delayed is Justice denied. I love this phrase.
Yes.
You know, we cannot delay justice. So it's one of the latest books telling the story of you know, oh my God, disregarded principles of rule of law in Turkey. And there is another one. It includes photographs, pictures. It's a publication of AST2, and it's titled as Being the Other Child in Turkey, telling the persecuted children in Turkey. So when you hear this title of a book, that there is, you can ask yourself, in a part of the world, in a very different part of the world, are children persecuted? Can children be persecuted? But yes, they are in Turkey, in many parts of the world. So in this book, it's not a very latest book, not a very recent book. It says that 82 children lost their lives, under the persecution through different means. But as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, it's more than 90 right now, the number of the children. I hate saying number, but there are more than 90 lives, children lives we lost so far. So let's
well,
see.
And one thing to keep in mind too, while 90 may not sound like a lot, when you talk about a child, you're talking about that has died, you're talking about an entire generation.
Yes.
Is gone.
An uncompleted life, unfinished life.
An unfinished life, and all the generations that would have come to life. So it's not just one child, it's entire generations.
Yeah. Okay, let's see about the AST publications.
And I'm going to guess that's not even a complete, or is that all of the publications? I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think
There are several that I have read. So if anyone watching and listening that does not speak or read Turkish language, there are multiple ones that are in English. So go to the silenceturkey.org and find the books that are in English, because I've read several, and it's to hear the stories. So we have our next video is from another AST board member. I believe it's pronounced Terry Towles. But so if I have said that wrong, Terry, I apologize. Terry has worked almost 40 years as a manager in high-tech companies like Ricoh, Xerox, Canon, but then he moved into a pastoral role. And being in service, being in ministry, and he just retired this year as a pastor of adult ministries and here in the Kansas City area in a Baptist church. So let's hear from Terry.
I had the privilege of visiting Turkey a number of years ago, and I was so impressed by the history and the culture that I found there. I was also gratified to see that there was a democracy in Turkey, which was for me fairly unusual in that part of the world. The Turkish people had a great deal of freedom and autonomy, but things have changed. Political disagreement is now labeled as dissidence, and unity is now disguised as being uniformity. The Advocates of Silence Turkey is an organization that gives a voice to those who are being persecuted. If you believe in human rights and you want to see a return to civility and freedom in Turkey, then perhaps you would consider supporting AST this Giving Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor.
There is an evil eye. I mean, please, send your prayers or, I don't know, good wishes, best wishes. Somehow, even if internet connection is really great, excellent, I'm just getting disconnected. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience.
Well, we were listening to Terry while that was going on, so we didn't even know.
Okay.
So I think we might have an update here we can see the projects again. And I'm not, and some of the goals. So
Okay.
let me just see if there's, what I was thinking about the last time I was talking about these projects is that you'll notice in the bottom left, there's the social genocide exhibit in Colorado. There's one in Utah. And then if you go to the top of the right-hand column, there's, the one that was in New York. And this doesn't even list the one that was here in Kansas City area. But if you look at what it costs, you can see there to do the social genocide exhibit in New York is more than twice. It's 3 times as expensive as the one in Utah and more than twice the one in Colorado. So it's, just because we talked about the social genocide exhibit, one time, there is every time that it's done, depending on where, because we know, costs are different.
There is transportation.
Yes.
And they are also, fragile things. So
yes.
It's not that easy. And you know what? I just forgot to mention that. Thank you for reminding. Actually, the social genocide exhibition will take place in Midwest, in 5 cities. In upcoming months.
Right.
So including Chicago, Cleveland, St. Louis, Indiana, and Michigan.
Right. So each one of those is going to cost something different. I just don't want people to think that it's the same for each time you do it, because each city has very different cost of living expenses. Mm-hmm. And it's, it does take quite a bit of money, the transportation, renting a space, setting it up to, it's one of the more powerful exhibits. It's one of the most powerful something someone can experience to really, get an idea, visceral, an embodied experience of what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah. Let's keep going. So
yeah.
I think we're coming towards the end of our, tonight's virtual event, but we have some video messages from our friends. Taylor, the next friend who is sending his message to us is Taylor Coles, and Taylor lives in Lee's Summit, Missouri. Taylor works.
It's a suburb of Kansas City.
Oh, okay. So Taylor works as a therapist and young adults pastor, and he's also an AST advisory board member. Let's hear Taylor.
Hi, my name is Taylor Qualls, and I support AST because everyone, of course, deserves basic human dignity and rights, but beyond that, everyone deserves to have their story known and heard and to be seen. And there are far too many people who don't have a voice in Turkey, and there are far too many people in America and the West who just have no idea what's going on in Turkey and how hard so many people have had to fight just to raise and love their children, and how many people have been denied that basic right to be with and love their families and take care of them. And I want people to be heard, but I also want people to know, because the more that everyone knows, the more we all know, the more possibility there is of change. So I hope people will join me in giving to AST, and that we can actually bring about change and different, because there are far too many people turning a blind eye, and it's up to all of us working together to make these wonderful, beautiful people's voices heard. Thanks.
Do we have updates?
Yeah, do we have updates on our pledges?
Let's see what's coming up.
Yes!
Oh my God.
I know. Can you believe the generosity?
Yeah,
I know I probably shouldn't be so joyous, because I always have mixed feelings, Hafsa, because of what we're talking about, and yet this makes my heart sing and smile and so appreciative, and
I know.
total demonstration of the power of the human spirit.
I hear you. Yeah, but I'm so glad. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, everyone, for your contributions, for your generosity.
Yes.
Yeah, for your concern for humanity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we have another person from United Kingdom right now. We are going beyond the ocean, and Kerim Balcı, he's a former journalist, an exiled journalist actually, and he's a very good one. I know him in person. And he's also a very fierce human rights advocate right now, working in United Kingdom in London for London Advocacy Group. And I listened to his video message, and he's saying something very beautiful. Let's hear him.
My name is Kerim Balcı. I am a human rights defender working at Human Rights Solidarity London. When people support a human rights organization, they usually fail to realize the inspiration factor they are also supporting. The Advocates of Silenced Turkey, AST, is an inspiring human rights organization. We are all over the world inspired by the work they have been doing in recent years. I particularly was amazed by their success to integrate local people to their fight for human rights violations in Turkey. I also took inspiration from the recent Human Rights Festival organized by AST, and we are hoping to duplicate it here in London. So when you support the Advocates for Silenced Turkey, you are actually supporting human rights work all around the world. Thank you.
It's very true. You support AST, human rights, and you're supporting everyone in the world.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so again, there's, we just have about 5 minutes left, and we're coming to the end of our time together. We may go a minute over, because you know me, I talk too much, and we have, I think, just a couple more videos, but we want to make sure we mention again the projects and the goals
Okay.
of AST. And I was one of the projects that's listed on there is the Art for Human Rights, which is probably one of the, for lack of a better term, least expensive items on the list. But it's $4,000 for this book, and we just saw the arts video and the power of arts to carry the message of Advocates of Silence Turkey, to carry a message of hope, to carry them, to just in one painting encompass the violation of human rights and the hope that comes from this work. The total cost for all of these projects that you're seeing is somewhere from $230,000 to almost $260,000. And so every single dollar that's raised tonight or was yesterday or in the next few days absolutely goes to where it needs to go. It is not, very clear that it's very little is for administration. Most all of it is to tell the stories, to let the world know.
And also I want to say something, very different than those. So we are, in front of the screen right now. People can see us, right? And we see the updates. It was 77, the most recent one, right?
Yes.
There is the, behind the screen, behind the doors, behind the curtains part. So I know that there are hundreds of people, are volunteers right now, active right now, from Australia, from different parts, wherever people actually are sleeping or should be sleeping, but they are not sleeping, trying to reach out to their, friends in the local they are living, and trying to find, donors, volunteers. So I appreciate their, efforts. So I want to thank them. It's not possible. It wouldn't be possible. Just, speaking here, it's the easiest part. Telling about the stories, telling about the work is the easiest part. Whatever they are doing, it's the hardest part. And I really, heartfelt thanks to everyone. And also our technical guy here, Muhsin Bey from Macedonia. People are sleeping. Muhsin is not sleeping. He's helping us. So, before getting everything, I just want to thank everyone behind the screen.
Yes, absolutely. Our next video is a woman named Judith Paulette, and she's associated with the Dialogue Institute here in Kansas City for about the last 6 years. She was just looking for a way to expand her cultural awareness. Most of her career was focused on community building, volunteering for nonprofits, being on various boards. And so she right now serves on the Dialogue Institute Advisory Board, and she works in patient advocacy and for some international foundations. So let's hear. So again, like I said earlier, if you're involved in human rights work and social justice, you're very busy. And Judith is no exception. So let's hear from Judith.
Okay.
And I've been asked to speak to you today about Advocates of Silenced Turkey, or AST for short. This time of year, most of us in the U.S. are entering a period marked by contrasts. We're experiencing more darkness, colder temperatures, and naturally reflecting on the end of another year. The reason I agreed to speak to you today about AST is pretty simple. It's a group of compassionate souls who cannot turn away. Like many of my friends and neighbors, they cannot turn away from knowing people who have the same desire to live lives of service to others are suffering because they are educated and they want to pass along a better future to those who follow. They cannot turn away from what is happening to people in a country that was once celebrated as a model of democratization, a source of inspiration for other nations yearning for a government to serve all the people, not just a favored few. They cannot stand idly by as the Republic of Turkey continues to be transformed under its new regime, which has caused a flood of Turkey's brightest and best to have no other option than to leave the country until it is safe to return. We in the U.S. are fortunate to have many of these brightest and best among us now, contributing to our own society in amazing ways. They are on the front lines of healing our sick, doing internationally significant scientific research, strengthening our diverse economy, teaching our children, and offering cultural enrichment to us all. AST is a collective of lawyers, judges, academics, journalists, and countless activists who hold dear the principles of democracy and universal human rights. They include prisoners of conscience pursued by the Erdogan regime, relatives of political prisoners, and victims who have suffered the loss of jobs, property, and family members due to the current administration. So, in this season of reflection, I invite you to consider what you find important. I invite you to find out more about AST by visiting silencedturkey.org. You will see their commitment to utilize all the advocacy tools, mechanisms, and systems that can possibly be used to protect and promote the human rights of those whose voices are being silenced in Turkey and beyond. Whether you have a little or a lot to share, a gift to AST is a thoughtful way to stand with those who have committed themselves to a very active yet peaceable hizmet in helping those who struggle for the very same ideals we hold dear. Thank you.
Well, right there you are.
Yeah, I'm here. So yeah.
So I think we have one more video that I'd like to do, and then
yes, I agree with you. Yeah.
Wrap us up and see where we're at with what's been raised and
Yeah.
the pledge and
before closing. Yeah.
Before closing.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, look at the numbers. Just
Yes. Yeah.
So there is one last video, right? Do you want me to introduce it, or do you want to do that?
No, go for it.
Go for it. So okay, we are gonna be listen to Patty Reagan. Patty Reagan is a retired reading specialist that has taught both in Kansas and China. She's a devoted advocate of social justice, especially in the areas of gun violence, homelessness, and interfaith dialogue. She, along with her husband, Jim, has served on the Advocates for Silence Turkey for several years and participated in various activities with the Dialogue Institute of Kansas City. Patty Reagan.
Hello, my name is Patty Reagan, and I've been a member of the board of Advocates for Silent Turkey for several years. My husband and I have participated in numerous activities sponsored by the Dialogue Institute. And it's there we have heard so many horrific stories of violations and abuses of humans in Turkey. So it's with that in mind, I'm urging you to donate generously to this organization on Giving Tuesday to help to continue to raise awarenesses of the violations and abuses of human rights. Thank you.
You are on, in the meantime, you're writing comments on YouTube too, Kelly. Oh my God.
Yes, of course.
Multitasking woman. I cannot believe. I was thinking that I am a multitasking woman. No, you are way beyond. Let me read it. It makes the sun come up in my heart as I witness the generosity of so many. You are each blessed, and you are each a blessing. Oh, that's nice. Oh.
Oh my gosh. Look, Hafsa, 101.
Wow, 1/3 of our goal just completed in one night. And you know what, Kelly? It's just reminded of our audience, reminded our audience of the fact that it's just the start tonight.
Yes.
We have whole week, in front of us.
Yes.
Giving season, you can still go on, finding friends. Encourage them to support this cause monthly based, regular based, because we need a regular, support, financial support. Wow. Well, I'm amazed.
I wasn't sure what to expect tonight, Hafsa, but I am I'm actually fighting back tears because I'm so delighted. I'm so honored. It's such a privilege to do this with you. And to just see it brings so much hope about humanity when there's so much, yes, this focus is Advocates of Silence Turkey. And here in the US, we have, the former president who just loves Erdogan. And so we have that autocratic, violent rhetoric and consciousness alive and well. And so seeing this really brings me hope.
Yeah. Every day we watch news and sometimes we feel helpless.
Yes.
Then just sometimes something happens, just like this. People are actually, right now supporting the cause which helps people in Turkey beyond borders.
Yes.
We know that, even beyond borders means something to us because we are humans. They are humans. That's what we should do to be a real human being. And as just you mentioned, and Masih Ali Najad, an Iranian activist journalist, she's an amazing woman. She always says this: dictators, like they have a club, as if they have a club, dictators unite. Why don't we?
Right. Yes.
So it's kind of a unity and solidarity, coming together against all dictators and all oppressors all together, right?
The way that I say it, Hafsa, and then, we'll close up is, for an autocrat, a dictator, people like Erdogan and the government, it's all about the power over. And what we're doing is power with.
Yes. Well, this is the power of humanity coming from the very.
Yes, that's why I say power with. It's not power over, which is what oppression is about. I'm talking about power with.
Wow, I love that, Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's become a great closing remark. Thank you so much. And I feel privileged. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry that you're coughing. I just have my hand on my heart to just, because I'm so grateful and I want to say thank you. And so here's different ways that you can become a monthly donor from the website. Go to silenceturkey.org/donate now, via PayPal, via Patreon, where it's like a subscription kind of thing, but also through ZELLE, which is through, a bank transfer. And there's the advocatesofsilencedturkey@gmail.com. So these, if you're looking at the screen, take a screenshot, or watch the video and, rewind the last minute or so. And thank you. Thank you for allowing me to participate. Are you okay, Hafsa?
I will be, hopefully. Thank you. Thank you for everything, Kelly.
Thank you. Blessings.
Have a great night, everyone.